Did you eat out tonight? What you eat and when you eat it can sometimes make you sick. Tonight, as part of our ongoing series on food safety, our problem solvers offer some dining advice from a chef. Our Vince Gerasoli is here now with some important insider information. Vince.
Linda, Anthony Bourdain is a chef, a cable TV host, and an author who has shined the harsh light of truth on what really goes on in restaurant kitchens. Like a snitch in a 1940s detective film, Bourdain's coming clean with the dirty secrets some chefs don't want us to know. We think we know these places with their fancy names and trendy meals, but he knows the world behind the kitchen door.
When I came into the business, it was something people did between arrests and convictions.
He writes, I want to tell you about the dark recesses of the restaurant underbelly.
It's a peek inside a closed society that they're curious about.
And in Kitchen Confidential, Chef Anthony Bourdain exposes that world to us regular Joes.
If I frighten people away from brunch, that's a good thing.
He warns the endless platters of brunch entrees may be a dumping ground for food that's been around too long.
Well, let's put it this way, seafood, you have to ask yourself, anytime you see shrimp or scallops or perfectly good ingredients that are better by themselves, suddenly in vinaigrette or all mixed together for cheap in a frittata, why are they being so nice to me?
And hold the hollandaise. The sauce is tasty over eggs and vegetables, but Bourdain knows it usually sits out a while.
It's like, Club Med for bacteria.
We're drawn to buffets with all-you-can-eat promises at one low price, but for Bourdain, that doesn't add up.
Why are they giving me this for cheap? I hear cheap sushi, I'm thinking old fish.
And old fish doesn't smell quite right to Bourdain. Seafood markets are closed weekends, so avoid those Monday fish specials.
The natural tendency of fish purveyors, as well as chefs, is to unload what's left over from the weekend on Monday.
Restaurants with giant menus make Bourdain wonder what strange beasts lurk behind the kitchen doors.
How good can they be at all of those things? And how long have those escargots been kicking around back there waiting for you to come along and order them?
Think that breadbasket on your table is just for you? Think again.
The untouched loaf of bread from the next table might well go back into the kitchen and come right out to your table. Well, that's been going on as long as recorded history without ill effect.
It's ironic that warnings in what to order come from a culinary adventurer who travels the world eating exotic dishes. But Bourdain knows good food and good eating are about risk.
A little honest dirt is not an impediment to a great meal.
To find your next great meal, try looking up from your menu.
Look deeply into your waiter's eyes. They know. Do they look proud or do they look ashamed?
And how about the best strategy for when to dine out? Try Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, according to Bourdain. He says the chefs know they are catering to their regulars, their local clients on those nights, so they take more care in preparing your food. And finally, how about those stories we've all heard about? Oh yeah, they drop the food on the floor back in the kitchen and put it back on your plate. According to Bourdain, that might have happened a long time ago, but with more people eating out in this new culture of the celebrity chef, there really is more of a push to have more pride in their work throughout the food industry. And he says that is a rarity nowadays with all the people watching that kind of stuff.
And they get so covered by the papers and everything else. They want a good rating. They want you to come back.
Not to mention CBS 2 News this month, too.
Yeah.
All month long, we are watching. Thanks, Vince.
The train is coming, but I've got time to race my car over that railroad crossing, don't I?
Maybe not. Last year, more than 600 people in this country followed that thought right to their deaths. So with the help of Conrail, we decided to show you what can happen at unguarded railroad crossings. We're riding the rails from River Rouge to Monroe. It's a common Conrail route, and what we saw is not uncommon. Car after car crossing in front of the 12 million pounds of steel I was on. Motorist after motorist challenging the train to a game of chicken, or needlessly, foolishly risking their lives during afternoon rush hour because they're too impatient to wait for us to go by. In her 17-year career, engineer Denise Goodman has watched helplessly 7 times as her train pulverized a foolish driver.
I hit a woman in Monroe, Michigan, and that's all I could see. For 4 days after the accident, not eating or sleeping, and I could just see her and then I could like feel it and hear it and smell it, and it's just all I could think of.
To show you what happens when train meets car, we set up a dramatic demonstration with the help of Conrail. The main players in our drama, a twin-engine 10-car freight train, and this old clunker.
You got the cable?
We set up 10 cameras to capture the collision. After all, we only get one chance.
As part of our demonstration, we're going to sacrifice a couple of cameras. Now, this may seem like a grisly view, but it's one that far too many people have had.
The other cameras taped into place included one to give you the engineer's perspective, one at the front of the engine to give you a track-high view, and that VHS camera we set inside the car.
I think you should be able to see something here pretty quick.
We even sacrificed a crash dummy just so you'd see what would happen to your loved one or anyone in the car.
Anytime there is a train-car collision, witnesses are always a little astonished. Gee, the train didn't even try to stop. Doesn't it have brakes? Well, yes, it does. Trouble is, this engine weighs about 300,000 pounds. An average train, 12,000 tons. 12,000 tons at 60 miles an hour doesn't exactly stop on a dime.
So, with our test car in place and our train barreling down upon it at 45 miles an hour,
Everybody should be rolling. Everybody should be rolling.
watch and feel. After the dust and debris had settled, I examined the wreckage with Thomas Kinzer of Operation Lifesaver, a group trying to raise public awareness of train safety.
What we see here is something that happens too far often here in the United States. We see nearly 600 of these annually, each and every year.
Well, it seems pointless to ponder your chances of surviving something like this. The car's a mess, and this car probably weighs a lot more than your car does. As for the mannequin we placed inside, well, she's looked better.
A person just would not survive this type of crash. As you can see from the dummy, the head's removed, the body's crushed and cracked. A human being, their bones would just disintegrate almost in this type of impact.
You know, the next time I see those flashing lights at a crossing, I'll remember that collision, Devin.
And hopefully keep your foot on the brake. That really is the idea here. Sometimes life lessons are very simple, even though we choose to ignore them occasionally. Don't race a train at a crossing. If it wins, you lose big.